And to respond to your comment, I think most of us in this room here are pro-sex, and that's why we're anti-porn. I do not believe you can be pro-sex and pro-porn at the same time. You have to make a decision. I also want to say to the men in the room, and also to the women, that the men might not know this, but feminists are your best friends. We are the only ones rooting for your humanity. We are the only ones who believe that you are in fact worth better than pornography. Because in pornography, you are reduced to life support systems for erect penises. And we believe you are worth more than that. I believe that as an academic, I believe that as a feminist, and more importantly, I believe that as a mother of a son. Because if my son is worth more, then your son's worth more too. So, I'm going to start with how the fact that the media is way ahead of many people in academia and in the school system. So this is Details, which many of you are familiar with. Yes, a lad mag tag. So they had an article in it called How Internet Porn is Changing Teen Sex. And their subtitle was, Forget awkward fumblings in the back of the bus. Juniors thinking more along the lines of reverse cowgirl aim. Okay? So they know exactly what's going on in teen sex. And they also, this is specifically addressed to boys. And then they had a very interesting quote that was about girls from Joanna Angel, who runs a porn site called Burning Angel. And in it she wrote, the girls these days just seem to come to the set porn ready. So that means they know exactly what to do, and they have been socialized by our culture to be porn ready. So what we're going to talk about today is the world that young girls grow up in. And then I'm going to go into the world that young boys grow up in. Because there is a symbiosis between how girls are being socialized through pop culture and how boys are being socialized through pornography. And then I want you to think about what happens when you take a girl who has been socialized through pop culture, throw her in a room with a man or boy who's been socialized through pornography, add in some alcohol, hook up casual sex, and what have you laid the groundwork for, okay? So, let's start thinking about this generation. And the most important thing to think about is that those of us, and I'm being kind here, over the age of 35, were brought up in what we call a print-based culture, where the dominant form of communication was the printed word. The younger generation has been brought up in an image-based culture. And this is completely different. Images do not work the same way as print. Print has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It has to tell a logical story. The thing about images is they do not. They come and they go. Now what's important is that, as Neil Postman said, we developed some immunization to the seduction of eloquence of print. We have no such immunization to the seduction of eloquence of the image. And I can tell you how I know that, okay? I have studied this for years. And when you walk through the images, that you see is the wallpaper of the lives of not just young women, but most of us. I know this because when I was writing my book, Pornland, and God help me, I have to be 10 years of Cosmopolitan for this, right? I'm going through it, and I'm going, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I want to look like that, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Seeping into my head. And I know how images aren't real. I understand how they work, but it's still got into me. So what is crucial to understand is I say to my students, she's not real. She doesn't exist, okay? She is the product of airbrushing. Now, how many of you are still comparing yourselves to her? So, you know what's the real problem with images? Even when they lie, they tell the truth. So images can never lie. There's something about the human mind and brain that needs to believe that is true. And that is the profound impact of images.